Thank you. So they elected democratically their governors, their alcalde, their everything. So this is difficult because it takes out the Spanish. Is the municipal government. Sí, la municipalidad, la alcaldía, eran autogobernados. Yeah, they governing themselves. Why? Because we have one friar. The friar is there only to give the mass, the baptismals, everything, and teach the new natives the Spanish language and all of that. But he wasn't governing the mission. The mission has their own people governing themselves. Okay? So this is another proof against all those people that are saying about the enslavement in the concentration camps and all of that. So we have documents in this case about another thing that I'm hearing a lot. Let me remember that is cultural genocide. But genocide is about death. It couldn't be cultural, never ever. So put together two words. That two words is horrible. We cannot do that. So there is genocide when you kill people. If you don't kill people, if you just teach them another language, teach them another culture, this is aculturación. So we give them another culture. We don't kill them.
As a matter of interpretation, because cultural genocide, I think for most people who don't even have consciously know what they're saying, I think what they, as we understand it, is because they are killing our cultural indigenous, exterminating state regime by imposing religion, Spanish religion.
I know.
That's our interpretation. It's a matter of interpretation. It's not necessarily that they mean.
I know, but
like say with the Jewish.
What we use.
We appreciate that. We are going to save all the comments until the end of the class, but I do appreciate you.
What we use that word which is related to death, because we want to look at this cultural transformation as a big thing. No, use the correct words. So the problem with history is that when we put politics then in the middle, that when we have personal or groupal interests put it in the middle, history is history. And we need to know the history like it is to start working and to start understanding everything. And that's the problem with that. So that means that the friars, they wash the minds of the natives. And they changed the names. And they did a lot of things. Well, here in the records we have that una muchacha como de 9 años, 9 years old, llamada Apajova. So the friars are recording in many cases, they are recording the original name of the native for the history. Yes. Black over white for the history. Apajova. In many cases, a quien puse por nombre Marta. But Marta, not in this case, but maybe if it's not an orphan, the parents decided that name for her daughter. In many cases. So if we want to do politics, but reality is different. Marta, hija de padres gentiles, yes, in this case it's an orphan, difuntos, de nación Aujuyac. How we know all of these names about the nations? And we have a lot of names, nations' names, because the friars recorded. So this is against that idea of we won't erase everything. This is against that idea. They recorded all of this for the history. And we know, we can talk about the Apaches, Comanches, about the hundreds of nations because we have it. Thank you to the friars. Well, hijo de gentiles. Many people ask me, what is that, right? Gentiles. Gentiles is a cognate, and in English, it's more or less the same. Gentile. So what is that? It's a good word, right? It's nice people, Gentile. It's a good word. If we go to Louisiana, a French record, the same record of a French mission, we can read, born of a savage belonging to Dauphin. So the French, we are doing not so good work with the natives, right? Savage. But what happens with the Americans? They didn't do either a good job. This is a plaque in the Santa Fe Plaza de Armas in the middle. And to the heroes who have fallen in the various battles with, and so on, savage Indians in the territory of New Mexico. So not so far, American people were writing plaques and putting obelisks against the savage Indians. And now we are saying, oh, the Franciscan friars, the Spaniards, they did this, and this. Documents. I'm sorry. This is not what your textbooks said so far. So maybe we have to start change the textbooks. Correcting. Okay. In 500,000 words that the baptismal book had, only in 2 cases we find something related to enslavement, esclava and esclava. Only in 2 records. And they are not part of the mission. So in this case, we have, how we imagine the enslavement? The black enslavement in Louisiana, right, in the 13 colonies there? Is the way how I imagine that. But in the Spanish side, wasn't so, because we have that the godmother, Juana Maria de Abonza. So that woman has name and has surname, last name. So kind of more recognition that the blacks in the Louisiana, that they were called Kunta or whatever, Kunta Quinte. You remember that show in the TV? That woman was esclava de Josef Antonio Rodriguez. So imagine now the Catholic Church giving that responsibility to a person that is not free. The godparent and the godparents are one of the most sacred things in the Catholic Church. So they are not allowing some people, enslaved people, doing a job as a godmother. You cannot take care of a child if you are a slave. So we have some documents like this that we need to think about, because it's very different from the enslavement in the other side. Okay? The other one. So we have here. Se presentó José de los Reyes, which was a mulato libre, okay, originario de este presidio, born in this presidio, hijo legítimo de Juan Carlos, de Juan de los Reyes y de Ana Herencia Talamantes, difuntos. That is asking for marriage with Gertrudis Ávila, which was a mulata esclava, a slave, right? De Josefa Leal. I don't know, maybe some of you know those names I'm talking around here because it's the history of San Antonio, right? Maybe you, Anthony, right? So this is familiar for you, all of this, I know. So my question here is, okay, how we allow a slave woman to marriage to a free man? Okay, she asked for permission to Josefa Leal and married a free man. She became free, or he became a slave. So there is a lot of things like this that is giving us a very different idea of what we know so far. And we have more and more. Natural del Presidio San Antonio, Jorge Talamantes, mulato, su oficio sastre. That moment sastre was like a god. To have a suite that was expensive. So this guy was a very specific, how to say that, technically skilled worker, right? A sastre. And it was a mulatto. And was married with María Gertrudis Zamora, española, su edad 4 años, well, 4 años, that is a mistake. This is not mine, this is from another. Blas Menchaca, español, natural de Coahuila, soldado, casado, su esposa María Gómez, Coyota. Coyota es mestizo, right? 38 años, natural del Presidio San Antonio. So we have here a one man and one mestizo woman that has Juan Antonio Jiménez Español as a servant. So nothing is matching here under the vision that we have so far. Okay? So what I read on all of this, that the society in San Antonio were mixed, were inclusive, were everything. So we don't know, we don't need right now in the 21st century to give lessons of inclusivity to San Antonio. Maybe someone needs to talk with the mayor. He won't listen to me. So, a list of nations. This is a list I made with everything on the records, right? A lot. We have a lot. We have one more page like this. There's one. Imagine. So, assuming, and I have, for example, the Yerbipian. Yerbipian, Yerbipiamo, Bermipima, Yerbipiamo, Herbipiamo, Beripiamo, Jeripiamo. So far, what they are saying, oh, we have a bunch of nations, 1,000 nations, and they were 100,000 people in each nation, and they annihilate all these people. I'm sorry, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 names that is the same. And it depends only of the friar and the way he write this or put in some way. And many of these nations that we have in this list are even just a family. Family. Just a clan, and they were a family. Entierros book. We have also Entierros book. And the Entierros book is giving us an idea that it wasn't the heaven in the earth, this part of it. That was the frontier. And in the frontier, many people died. And there are 3 guys. There were 4 guys going to the coast to talk with the Cocos to convince them to come to the mission to live with them. Well, when these 4 guys arrived to the coast, the Cocos is north of the Carancaguas. North of the Carancaguas should be Galveston or something. Yeah, Matagorda Bay, north of Matagorda Bay. They were there, and only one made it alive, running for his life. The other 3 were a violent society. They kill each other. It's how it works. So we are now saying, okay, nothing happens. They were all good guys. Yes, they were good guys, and they were bad guys. And they were killing each other. In this case, Nación Jarame, Asensio, Diego Patcaj Nation, and Carlos of Sana Nation, who were killed by the Cocos. And after 10 years, 15 years, the Cocos were going to the mission. Another, the vaquero, the cowboy of the mission, who were to the outside of the mission to take care of the cows, and the Apaches called him. The Apaches killed him. All right. So we have like this one. No, I'm running a lot, but okay. So this we have. Bauticé solemnemente, I baptized solemnly, a una párvula como de 3 años, 3 years old, woman, hija de padres gentiles, again. Okay, I didn't explain what means gentiles. Gentiles means the one that weren't baptized yet. They weren't Christians. Okay, gentiles and Christians. De nación Utah, hija de padres gentiles de nación Utah, que el 29 de julio vendieron los apaches en esta misión. This happened here, and this happened in Nuevo Mexico, everywhere. In those times, there were some nations that were doing those things. And we have to accept it. Because if not, we get the wrong conclusions. Okay? Bapticé solemnemente a una párvula de 3 o 4 años de edad de nación Comanche, que dieron los apaches a Roque Jarame. So some groups were kidnapping people just to get something in change, or muskets, or horses, or whatever. And they were coming to the mission because they know the friars, they always will pay for the rescate, for them, horses, whatever. Yeah, because they were concerned about the kids. And no, do you have that kid? No, give it to me. What you want? Here you have. Un cuarto de legua de extensión fue una decidida. No, this is the vaquero one. And what was this? And I'm of lost right now. No, this is the vaquero. Okay. Now here. So, in the frontier, when we speak on the frontier about the Españoles, we think, okay, people coming from Spain. Right? They come here, they do whatever, and they, after 300 years, they go to his ships and come back to Spain. No. Nothing, never happened that. They bought a one-way ticket. They come here, and now they are your ancestors. They are Mexicans, they are Colombians, they are Venezuelans, they are all that. So this is not the way we explain our surroundings in as a humans is classifying. So we put the güerito chico in this box, we put the brown chico in this box, and they are all together. We cannot separate them. So we cannot explain our world with classifications. They are Spanish, they are Indians, they are... This is only a descriptive word. And they describe it, the Spaniards, because they were baptized and they were living as Spaniards, from the Indios, who in most cases weren't baptized, and they needed to be, the friars need to work with them. So there is a book, which I, as a friar, I need to show my boss. Okay? This is the books. I need to show my boss the book. And I'm saying, no, those are Spaniards, and this is not my success to get him baptized, because they are mandatory, they need to be baptized, because they are Spaniards. But those ones those 1,000 or more Indians is my success. I baptized all of them. I how do you say? Catechism, all of them. So this is the proof for the friars to show their bosses that they were working. That's the point, to separate Spaniards from Indians. Just to describe, not to make castas or whatever, just to describe. Those Spaniards are not in my account because they are Spaniards and they have to be baptized. Those are Indians, those are in my account because I work with them to get them baptized. So this is how we interpret the documents. Other thing, so in the frontier we have how many? We have 56 Canarios, we have the governor, and we have maybe the captain of the presidio. So we have 58 people from Spain living here. The rest, we have like 3,000 Spaniards or Hispanos, if you want, that in the documents we show them as Españoles, but at the end they are mestizos and native Christianized. And in the documents they are recorded as Spaniards. So we have a lot of proofs like this. In this case, Pedro de la Cruz. Pedro de la Cruz. You were speaking about this guy a minute ago. Pedro de la Cruz, de Nación Tlaxcalteca. He's an Indian, he's a soldier. So all soldiers were in that classification as Spaniards. The presidio soldiers, or Spaniards, Tlaxcalteca. Su padrino, Marcial Gabriel, indio tlaxcalteca, del pueblo de Parras y soldado. So the first interred in San Antonio were a black guy who was soldado. So that thing that Spaniard, Spain, Peninsula, the rest are whatever. No. All they were Spaniards. This is the way it works. So we have to change the textbooks. It's important for us to get the truth. Soldiers of the Presidio, 72. Presidio de San Antonio, we can add some de la Bahía. Destacados en el situado de su caballada, 34. 34. So the half of the Presidio force were just taking care of the caballos, of the horses. And the other 3, which were sick, we have a guy with the drum and with the arsenal. 10 who were to buy horses, and 7 with the mail, going to the mail to the Monclova with mail, and 6 escorting the I think a priest or whatever. So we have, for a place like Texas, imagine Texas is bigger than Spain. Place than Texas, we have just 20 or 25 people, 20 or 25 soldiers taking care of the whole country. Just to try to keep the pace. That's what we have. We have to put everything in context, okay? To understand this. Well, it's better, I think, if we don't talk about the castas, because we didn't have castas in San Antonio. Nothing never happened. So the book of the baptismals, this is the 556 or so classification that the Mexican says that, the Spaniards put here a casta system to classify the society. Okay. Ahí te estás, Alvarazo, Albino, bla, 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 bla. 0000, 2 coyote, 0000, 7 mestizos, and 11 mulatos. That's it. What were the rest? Indians or Spaniards? So when people try to put some ideas on your mind, Okay, just slow down, slow down.
Sangre nunca cambia.
What?
La sangre nunca cambia.
No, no, but about politics, they are putting some ideas in your mind. No, you have to hate that group, and you are this group, and society never worked in that way. So this is the marriage, and we have some finish with those things. We have some. This is a juicio, which is how do you say that? In the court, no, in the courthouse, a judge like this. Yeah, yeah, more or less. In this case, is the ecclesiastical. Is the church justice. So we have a woman that are claiming against a soldier because he's pregnant, and the soldier promised her to marry and to take care of the kid, and the soldier just lived to los adais, and then when he came, he's the priest at the San Fernando Cathedral ordered the other soldiers to catch him and put him in jail until he married that woman. But this is a justice, so this is not just one decision. This is the priest who take the testimony of a lot of witnesses, and it's a process, a big process. And at the end, he said, "Okay, you have to marry that woman, okay, because we know that you were the one who." So, for some things, that ecclesiastical justice was working in San Antonio, okay. And then we have, for example, llamada también consta la partida corresponde al día siguiente. Oh, this is a sad one because it's an indio, right? It's Antonio de Jesús, de Nación Patago, who died. This is the Entierros book. This guy died because, yes. And this is the record of the Francisco Javier, pues habiendo estado huido. No, this one. This is another one. So the thing here is that the little son of this guy died like 1 month before. So he was very sad and decided not to eat, not to drink. And after a month, he died. Just because of sadness. Right? And then we have this one, which is the things that happen in towns, So, cual puse por nombre Ignacia. They are baptized in a girl, Ignacia, Párvula, which is kid. Párvula means kid. Nación Moruame, who was hija de Luisa, de Nación Jarame, mujer de Francisco Javier. That was Luisa of Jarame Nation, wife of Francisco Javier. So far is so good, pero habiendo estado huido más de un año, so his husband was run away for more than a year, and they were baptizing a baby. So, se supo ser hija de Alberto. O sea, we finally we knew that he was daughter of Alberto, which is a young man in the mission, right? So, Nación Moruame, fue su madrina, tal. Several records later, several years later, that Francisco Javier come back to his wife and had more kids with his wife, and Alberto married another woman, and so everything. Yeah, novela. We have this at the records, and okay, that was all. Do you have some questions?
You brought up a good point earlier about the Jarame. and how they lived for 4 generations.
Uh-huh.
And that proved my theory, because that's why I always said the blood never changes, and that our families have been here so many years.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and it was because only the last names were changed, not the blood.
No, that's obviously. So people are,
And they make things up and say it enough.
what I'm saying, and I put it clear here. I'm reading for you in English because I know it in Spanish, but I put it for you here. Hispanics and Native Americans neither left nor arrived. So they were here, and here they stay. O sea, that's the point with the border crossing us and all of that. People were at the missions, but when they became Spanish citizens, they built a house in the La Villita and everywhere there. So people are here.
We're still here.
So you are still here, yes.
First one is, are you going to for all the like some of these trusts around all of those service trusts and all of them? Like we try to whatever job now did.
Well, the problem is I have two hands,
Yeah, yeah.
so I'm trying to do, yes.
And the second
In this moment, I'm starting with the San Fernando Cathedral. We watch some of the pictures you see you have you seen here, and I wanted to do San Jose first. But the problem with San Jose that we lost the first books. So San Jose starts in 1777. I if I recall correctly. So there is a lot of history. In order to understand what happens in San Antonio, you have to do it chronologically. So that's the point. I cannot do it San Jose at this moment, and I'm doing San Francisco, San Fernando Cathedral.
at any point are some of those busy cases, like for example, when you talk about the original, are those going to be digitized? Are they going to be possibly digitized into almost like I do have to start? So like on Ancestry, I like to go to the original electrical dialogue.
Well, yes.
Just wondering,
You have it. The point I said that people were saying they don't allow us to check our documents. That's a lie, because the documents are digitized a long time ago. John Ogden was working with the microfilms, the same that I'm using in some cases right now. So those microfilms were in the Bear archives. And the Archdiocese archive, sadly, but the previous archivist wasn't so cooperative. But you had those in the Bear archives, so people could check those documents.
unfortunately, I live in our town. My third question. Okay.
They are digitized long time ago, so we have they are digitized more.
Yes, they did the rest.
My first question was, again, once my research, I'm right now working in 1700s. So one of the things that I read at some point that the Spanish used mestizo and mulatto interchange. Now I see that a lot of my records are definitely in my tree are definitely mulatto as African descendants or mixed in with a combination of all of it. So do you know at what point in history, or I don't know if you can try to go into that area, see where there's actually a definite difference between mulatto as in mulatto libre of African descent versus mulatto, which really is.
Well, mestizo is a word that means mezcla. No, mestizo at the origin. If you look at the diccionario, mestizo is something that mixes two races. Two races. Mestizo. Okay, so if we mix black and white, we have mestizo as well. But but they give them a specific name as a mulatto. Okay, but the problem here is that that thing about the caste system and all that is something that happened at the end of the 18th century. Yes, at the end of the 18th century. So we have 300 years of mixing between Spaniards coming and the local population. We have 300 years. Now explain me how after 4 or 5 generations each century we have 15 generations of mixing. So how you could say that by that 10, if one is 10% Spaniard or 20% or whatever, you cannot put it in a paper. So don't pay attention to what is in the.
Well, the 1700s, which is the 18th century, in San Juan Bautista, the Rio Grande.
Yeah.
Because some of our records are here that we
Yeah.
descending from Cabo Bolivia and over here. That the one specifically I'm talking about is San Juan Bautista, Solano.
I'm working with Pedro Wizard, Rudy Wizard, a good friend of us, and he asked me for help for his documents and all that. He had people in different records that in one is mulatto, in the other one is Spaniard, in the other one is. So the idea is to get all information, and then you have the one who could be the more accurate. But taking just one record, sometimes we don't have any other choice. We have just one record, and we have to accept that. But when we have more records, is the moment to get an idea of that.
You mentioned that you couldn't do something so because some of the records have been lost. One of the things that
A lot. That's
one of the things that I had heard was that mirror records from San Jose, but hopefully from all divisions, but specifically in San Jose, were also in Mexico. I don't know if it was Querétaro or Zacatecas, Monclova. So if there are mirror records there, why can't we get those records that are missing here because they were destroyed in a fire or whatever they were destroyed in? Why can't we get them from Monclova?
Yeah, someone can go to Monclova and ask for them, and that will help me to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have two hands, and I have 3 projects right now in different paths, and I'm like in Spanish we say estoy manejando un circo de 5 pistas. So we are managing a circus of 5 tracks.
We probably need to find out if their records have been digitized or not.
In Mexico, I don't think so.
Some have, but not all.
No.
But I'm not sure about
There was a woman in the last part of the 20th century that were copying a lot of these records in the north of Mexico, and she donated to the OLU, the Our Lady of the Lake archives. But the problem is that in the last 20th century they use a regular photocopy with toner, and they are almost lost. I cannot read it. So I have a lot of documents from. I went there when was the archivist that is no more, the one who gave you a speech here like 2 or 3.
Yes.
Yeah, Joseph de Leon. I went there, and I get a lot of documents from that time. And when I open those documents, it's almost erased. Yeah, impossible to read it.
The ancestry has only to 1822. They haven't gone back.
Incorrect. That's a lot of work. I subscribe to the international. You can subscribe to the web and the link is different research. But the international will give you Mexican records, Spanish. I mean, I've got lots of.
Okay, let me be more specific. But you were talking about San Fernando.
Oh, no.
Okay, but San Fernando is only back to 1824.
Oh, yes.
On Ancestry, and they don't have a timetable. They have the microfilm, but they don't have a timetable when they're going to enter those so that people can research online. Number two, San Juan Bautista. When you're talking about San Juan Bautista, were you talking about the mission?
Yes.
Okay, now there is a baptism translation that was done beginning 1800. Yes, and that was done by Vicky Garcia. I don't know if you know me. And I think she's a pretty reliable translator.
I don't use the translations, I use the actual, just the document that they're taking for that.
Much better.
Now, the other thing is, it doesn't seem to me reasonable that there would be a mirror document, like she's talking about San Jose. If there's a mirror document allá en el archivo en Monclova or de San Jose, it don't make sense that there would be. Who's going to write it down 2 times?
No. My conclusion, my opinion is that someone took the books and
Took them over.
yeah,
But that's not a mirror.
because nobody made a copy of this. We have on the legal documents and everything on the Spanish Empire, we made like 8, 9 copies everywhere, but not in any case from the baptismals of the books. Nobody made copies. So my idea is that someone took those books and bring to Mexico, or we lost it.
When I heard this from David, that these were taken from Moldova or wherever they were taken from, some type of record or something was kept there and then it was sent back. Okay, this is why I think that if the ones that were sent back were lost in a fire or whatever the catastrophe may have been, then the other copies are still in the book. And again, this is,
We don't have copies of this. Nobody made copies. And this is San Antonio de Valero, and this is the usual way of do things. Not make copies of this. In anywhere we don't. In anywhere around the world, in the Spanish world, we don't have copies of the records. So it could be, but
I know here at the parishes now, what I understand is, and I don't know if they're still done, but the last time I talked to Brother Kevin, he said that they do the records there, and then the archdiocese picks up the records periodically, does whatever they're going to do at the archdiocese, and then sends them back to them. So
The filmmakers that were here with you not too long ago also told me that there are mirror records in Spain for some of
no, for the records,
the
no.
records for
Uh-uh.
here. I don't know where
No.
she was talking
No
about
way.
for which parishes, but maybe not the Alamo, but she was saying that there are mirror records in Spain.
No, it could be. I can accept. I can accept that mirror records. This is an exception. I never seen something like that. It could be here, in Mexico, but they are not gonna send the documents to Spain. One year.
I think those are reports from officials here in San Antonio writing to Mexico City, who in Mexico City they're rewriting the report and sending the original copy over to Spain, and those are mostly government records.
Yeah.
not clerical church
Yeah.
records.
No. This no. Could be okay. I can accept it. Maybe. But the normal, the regular is not to do that. In we don't have in any
It
case.
could also be part of the narratives of the different Spanish or Mariana descendants that wrote down, creation or part of the story. Or
Yeah, well, like John did.
not official.
Yeah, the original records of this we don't have anymore. We have just one copy. That's it. So we have to be with them like.
Okay, I'd also like to say that another reason why your books are so important is I love the John Knox books because before there was nothing. That's all we had. But John Knox books is more of a summary of the Sacramental record.
It's not a translation. It's not a translation. It's not a transcription. And people are calling wrong that thing. It's a summary. Yeah, that's it.
So that's one of the reasons.
Summary of dates and names, and that's it. Yeah. So maybe what they have in Monclova is a summary.
I know when I was at Orlando Lake doing my research with Sister Carolina Flores and Dr. Benoit, and they were the ones that were in charge of the translation. They told me that there was, along with this other guy that was here one time, won't mention his name, but they said there's a lot of records that have not been seen or documented or translated yet.
In Mexico.
Yes, and they have them.
Yeah.
And they have them in Our Lady of the
No, because you need hands,
Right.
and you need to pay those hands. So imagine a small parish in Mexico, in North Mexico, very poor, and they don't have money or human force to do that. So even in the Archivo General de la Nación, which is in Mexico, they have the resources, and they still are way too. They need a lot to work with the documents.
Even the Bear Archives in Austin, John Wheat retired, so they don't have a translator now.
Right.
And then also,
I'm accepting offers.
private collections of hacendados or some other people that might have, sold her the black market or, some kind of sales at auctions and stuff, private collection that might be hidden away.
What was the first part of the? I didn't get
I'm
the.
talking about the registry. There could be something out there, some
Yeah.
treasure somebody might hoard
Yeah.
that's in a private collection.
That's true because there's records of the Battle of the Alamo written from the Spanish perspective that were hidden in those private archives where the rich folks bought those authors' books and had them in their collection. And now UTSA's library, John Peace Library, they went and got them and they have the original copies. And the other part is in my mind. But in Provincias Internas, which was the Alamo de Paras, that was where the headquarters were, that was the military headquarters. So a lot of that got interrupted by wars, and so those documents went into privateers, private collectors, and they made their way to the University of Arizona. And slowly those documents come out of the private collectors' hands, and they make their way to
I'm a graduate of UTSA. So one of the things I learned there that they hoarded a lot of information that is not accessible to the senators, just like the public at large. That was at the time when I was in school prior to 2010. And so that's an issue, because people don't even know what public is. They just look at us and like,
I've heard the same thing about the 6th floor that they used to have documents, and now you don't have access to them. And other people who were used to be here said, "Oh, I used to look at those documents all the time," and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, and I've never seen that, but I search a lot.
Well,
Going back to the ones at Our Lady of the Lake, I know that Joe said he's not there at Our Lady of the Lake.
Yeah, I know.
But when he was there, he was having some of his students digitize some of those records. So I don't know if that's going to continue now.
Yeah,
that it's gone or.
But the problem with those records is what I'm saying. They are digitizing some photocopies of the 90s. So I got those documents digitized, and when I open it, I cannot read it because the photocopy just.
Yeah, because they were digitized, but they were not translated. That was the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's talking about some of the digitized copies are so faded you can't read them.
Right.
And I understand because I got some copies just like that. When I got home, and that's like, I
And I
can't
was
see it
reading.
because it's almost gone.
We're gonna see it's almost gone. Yes, that's the problem. Well, one thing I wanted to mention is that you are talking about the ancestry.
One more thing. There is a document which has been provided to me, and I can share it with others if I can locate it in my computer, that lists the universities that had gone and obtained a microfilm of the records, baptismal, marriage, death in Mexico, and so they're here in San Antonio, like Our Lady of the Lake, Trinity, I believe St. Mary's may have something. So there are documents there. Now they may not be from the 1700s, but they could be from the 1800s.
They have a lot from the 80s, 1800s. Yeah.
Right, but I want there are microfilm available. You can go to Trinity and you can pull the microfilm and look at those records.
Yeah, I have a lot in my computer. I have a lot. Yeah, I have a lot of those documents in my computer because I have that illness, you know, to get everything, to accumulate documents.
You were getting ready to say something before she.
Huh?
You were getting ready to say something.
Yeah, about the ancestry thing. So you have to have the same care with ancestry because they put the picture of the original documents, and in the down they put links of the people in the documents. But that was made, I don't know by who, but not by Spanish speakers. And it's a document written in Spanish. And many of the links, for example, they put the last name as Apache. Apache is not a last name, it's a nation. So the problem with those links, if you access, is that it could take you whatever.
And that's why it's important, like when you're on Ancestry, one of the things that I've done since Ancestry took possession of the Archdiocese records, I don't search like for a year. I go in there and I open the record from the very beginning, and it takes a long time, but you go by person by person by person, looking, because they're not transcribing it properly. So it takes a lot of time, but it's better to go person by person and looking at the years. And you know, sometimes I go too far looking at a year, and then I have to go back. But that's how I have found a lot of the documents that I have found, by going person by person.
And to piggyback on that, a lot of people may not understand that the records here, when you're searching in your family tree, sometimes you go back to the border, back and forth to the mission. That's really important, so even to the
Yeah.
We're getting ready to
there's
cut this off.
Yeah, we're going to cut it off already, but there's a question that came from Facebook, and this person saying that they want to know where they can find out history of births at Mission San Jose, because they have like a draft record that states that one of their family members was born at the mission in 1925.
Really good.
Right?
Well, my last addition.
Probably just going to Ancestry, Archdiocese records.
So
One thing that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
okay, what I want to clarify, this is what ancestry should be doing. A database of everything, connecting dots, putting in common people, and they called me 2 times. I had a long conversation with those guys, 1 hour waste, and I am still waiting for more than a year. Oh, we need you to correct everything. So they want to get money, but they don't want to spend money, because I'm doing a lot of things for free for many people, but for a big company, I'm not doing for free. I am a professional, so they don't want to pay, but they have to do this, putting in common every single record on the books.
Yeah. The Latter-day Saints, the 1950 census was posted. They asked for volunteers to edit. I edited 400 pages of San Antonio in the 1950 census, and I corrected many misspellings, many. And I only did 400 pages. I hope somebody else did the other 5,000, you know. But that's the problem with searching online.
Robert, right before the Archdiocese sold their record to Ancestry, Diana and I called them and said, we can help you, you know, and we would do it for free. And just let us know. And we told them about 4 or 5 different times that they never got back to us. And then the last time they said, we've already given it to Ancestry.
But it's not as easy a task as you
No,
have
absolutely
thought,
not.
because the fact that it took someone of his caliber to do it. Because you can't read some of the writing. I look at them too, and I can't read the script. It's the names even are very confusing.
That's why
So-
you need a large.
We have a joke.
Well, John Leon spiked 1856 to 1858 San Fernando. He did not publish that. Yet there is a microfilm record of Sacramental baptisms for those 2 years. So Bejareños are typing those and will be posting them somewhere.
Index in the books?
In the English version, yes. No, not in the Spanish version, because the Spanish version, you have to understand. The Spanish version is not a version. It is an exact copy of the original. So I cannot put anything else in that is the transcription. Like there is. So from the transcription, we made a translation. In the translation, I have more room to work with this, like to put an index, yes. But the index, it could take 1,000 pages, because you can index chronologically or alphabetically, or you can index 1,000 things. But what I put is something that helps, that Lisa Santos told me, that helps to put at least some with the names and chronologically the dates. Is the maximum we can do. If not, we need a database. With a database, we can do that, but I cannot put this in a book. I'm working, as I told you, I'm with 5 tracks circuits. I'm working on on San Fernando Cathedral, and I'm working in my second book of the Presidios. And what I'm working urgent is because we know that in the Alamo they are doing things, and they are doing bad things. I have to say that. I'm sorry. They are doing bad things. So I'm working in a small book like this, like those. Okay, in English and Spanish, very easy to find what I told you in this presentation. Everything with all of that. Because I think that the Alamo thing right now is have the same narrative about the enslavements and blah, 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 and all of that. So they are trying to say, okay, we have Payayas and we have the Alamo barrel. And what happens with the 100 years of the mission in the middle? So they are not doing this. So I'm working in this, in that kind of book. And in the future, I will have a book explaining all of this, because I think you need it. Explaining all of these connections, families, and who is who, and because this is a database only from the baptismals. So in one moment when you cross the data, baptismals, burials, marriages, and you put San Fernando Cathedral and the rest of the missions, you will have a clear idea what happened in San Antonio. So this is what I'm doing, but to hunt. So
We allow, or the readers allow him just a couple hours of sleep every week. So I'm still working as hard as he can. But let me tell you, from my part, I'm extremely thankful for all the work that you have done and all the work that we're anticipating that you're going to continue to do. For those of us who are descended from the missions, this is a treasure trove. And you have done a really, really great service to the descendants. So from most of you,
thank you.
I have one more question. When we first started genealogy with Nesbitt Park Service years ago, it was something that everybody wanted to try to do in the family because of world heritage, okay, and to be connected and get families together. So we started like from today back. We can go back to now. Is that why this is happening? You understand what I'm saying?
No.
Like we grew up in the mission area, so the families that live there, we all knew each other.
Yes.
Like you said, generations, like Haramis, right?
Haramis, yes.
So, and of course they're doing them correctly now because they want to make sure that you're from there. But it's through our baptismals and our marriages that proves that we are from there now, and that's what helps. So it's easier for us to look back instead of look forward. Like you said, look back if you already have your genealogy. Not just say that's my last name and I'm connected. And that's what happens a lot.
Yeah,
okay,
that's a problem. Yes.
So I'm just bringing that up because it's still happening, and I'm glad that this group is bringing something out to light. You know, it's almost like prove me wrong, but not in a bad way, but prove me wrong, and you know, I'll say it. Just I know you said 1,000 or 10,000 people could have been in the missions, but no, it's proven that there wasn't that many.
No, it was like a strong group of families.
Yeah, and that's why
Maybe
we
10,
were as a community.
10, 20
That's
families,
how
a community that came here
Yes.
and lived as a pueblo, protected and with everything, and that's how it works. And many people after that, many people came, the payayas, and mixed it with them, and
Yeah.
it's a community.
And it's like the same story our grandparents would always tell us. Is that, dime donde vas, you know, if you're going to go to a library or a dance or something at the other mission, no vas a bailar con esta familia. Pueden ser parientes, you know. And it's true, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
Because by then we were already related, per se. You know?
Well, if you marry with your cousin, it's not so problematic that you do with your.
American, that's the way the natives are. We're you know, hey, I want you're the same, you know. We're connected. I can understand you.
Well, my last thing to say here is that you need to work with the Alamo, all of that, because I'm thinking they are not taking care of the people at the missions.
We've already made a connection out to them.
So you have to stress them, because I think that the people living at the missions, they just.
Is this, in your research, have you been able to determine why, because I descend from the Conquist.
The who?
Conquist, C-O-N-T-I-S.
Yes.
Santiago and San Manuel. Have you determined those who served, why, when they were given land grants, they were not able to keep the land that they were given? That's been the biggest question mark.
If we have, first we need to know who was here. Identify perfectly all the people that was here, and then to cross this information with other documents like the land grants and like all of that. Why those people didn't get access to the properties or the whatever? Because when the secularization of the mission, they give lands to the people living at the missions, but not to the people that were living at the mission, but they were already outside on the villitas, on the whatever. So, as I always said, okay, first identify the people, and then cross the information with other archives and with. But the problem is that so far nobody identified this. So they say, okay, 1,600 natives passed here, they were baptized, and we know something about them? No idea. So we have the documents. So let's identify first, and then go to the others. Is San Francisco de la Espada the county? I have the books, but I don't have time.
I know, because I just found everybody except for Santiago. There's a gap, and then I can find everything else before and after. But
I would like to say you something now, but I cannot. Sorry.
I'm gonna get your book, don't worry.
And before we wrap it up, somebody has a birthday today.
Strong supporter, and so we just want to say you, God bless you with. Thank you. So we just want to thank all of you for coming out. It means a lot for everybody to come and support us. We are a 501c3, so everything we put on is free and open to the public. And it all comes out of our pocket. So we do have more programming and
No, I didn't say that.
so we are
You misunderstood me.
with different programs that we think are going to interest all of you.
Yeah, after 3 hours, I don't know what I'm saying.
Continue to come out and support it. We aren't, if you didn't sign in, please sign in, let us know you were here. We are taking orders for our t-shirts.
Earlier, but then they decided to get the English one. So they gave this
Take
one
your order
to
in
me.
the back with Rachel and Evan.
You're signing to
Back
Joanne
there.
here, or you can sign it to me here.
And we hope to see you guys next month.
What I have here. I have mine.